A Gathering of Days, A New England Girl's Journal, 1830 to 1832, a novel by Joan W. Bloss. Chapter 16. Tuesday, September 6th, 1831. I have fallen far behind on my stints of piecing. Maman said I might not do else but put more time to sewing. Has it a name, this quilt of yours? David asked today. Mariner's Compass, I quickly replied, demonstrating the pattern. Maman had planned to make such a quilt before she came to us. Then I told them, as she'd told me, the story of its meaning. But how would it avail, Asa asked, with the quilt in Boston and the sailor on the sea? Oh, come now, Asa, 'tis not meant so. But I laughed, despite myself, and so did the others who heard. All at once it came to me. This was the first we had laughed aloud since it happened. No, since Cassie died. Wednesday, September the 7th, 1831. Today Maddie played with her dolls. She had not done so in ever so long. There were some I had quite forgotten, to whom I apologized. They had gotten such disarray. We dressed them out as best we could. Even Maman sat us down with us and improvised a tiny bonnet from a dimity scrap. I remember when I used to play every day and for hours and hours, but that was long ago, of course, when I was very small. Thursday, September 8th, 1831. The kittens are finding their way about, having grown quite large. I came on the white one in the field, already hunting alone. It has wonderful jade-green eyes and is quick and cunning. Monday, September 12th, 1831. Father very weary tonight. An ancient injury causes him pain, but he will do nothing about it. We know that he was determined, and is, to complete the haying before he slacks his pace. There are more of us now to house and feed, and goodness knows, this to Maman, you've risked enough in coming here. He did not finish the thought. I wonder, does he think sometimes of the one with whom long ago he began this house? Certainly I, amidst the mourning of Cassie, was reminded of those other dark days, when the bedroom mirror was turned to the wall, and I woke one morning to the smell of cut wood and 2 new-made coffins. Hers was so large, and the baby's so small, and both of them in the house. Tuesday, September 13th, 1831. Tonight we learned there has been a revolt of Negro slaves in the South. The Boston papers tell of nothing else. Many people were cruelly murdered, including women and children. Most of the slaves have been taken and shot. The leaders, Nat Turner, the chiefest of these, are secured in jail. It happened on August the 21st, the day after Cassie died. Strange that one speaks of these deaths and slayings and is not disposed to tears. Yet each of those who perished there was to some other one dear. Maman says we mourn all deaths with each particular grief. Are we then with those strangers joined whose lives, names, faces are veiled from us yet, whose griefs we share? Is this what Mr. Garrison meant when he penned the motto, "Our countrymen, all mankind"? I think once more of the Wiley slide. How can what we call Providence so oft, so cruelly deprive? Wednesday, September 14th, 1831. More on the insurrection. Uncle Jack has today obtained the newest liberator of the recent slave rebellion. Mr. Garrison there records that what was prophesied in January has now become a bloody reality. The editor states, as could he not, that the killings were a dreadful event. Nevertheless, concerning the raiders, he believes they deserve no more censure than the Greeks in destroying the Turks, or the Poles in exterminating the Russians, or our fathers in slaughtering the British. To read in this way of the War of Independence was shocking to us all. Maman said that she'd no more have that paper in this house. There was a hurricane in Port-au-Prince. 700 died. Thursday. Talk occasioned by the slaves' revolt continued unabated. Many now favor the establishment of a new Negro separate nation, it to be called Liberia and in Africa. Opposition, as might be expected, comes largely from the southern owners of the large plantations. They are dependent upon the blacks for free and diligent labor. The reasons put forth are various, some of them humane. They say, for example, the slaves are ill prepared, being by now dependent on their masters for so much of their care. Also, some slaves have no wish to go, and shall they be deported against their will? 'Twould be as cruel as the situation which first brought them here. Father, for all this, says he approves of the resettlement movement. Uncle Jack, to our surprise, quite fervently disagrees. It seems to him that Southerners have the greater connection with Negroes, ought to know better what's good for them than we Yankee farmers. In my mind, I am now quite certain the fugitive was a runaway slave, and could have been no other. Friday, September 16th, 1831. Haying, mowing, gathering in. Daniel works hard alongside of Father, and declares he sincerely looks forward to the resumption of school. Father accepts this good-humoredly. I told you we'd make a farm boy of him, and must be that we've done so. How is that? Mamma inquires, looking up from her work. I never knew a farm boy yet who'd not trade hay fork for quill and ink at this particular season. Saturday, September 17th, 1831. Last night we had scarce retired when a display of northern lights called us from our beds. It was a most impressive display, being very especially clear, though rather less in color than others we have seen. At their height, the lights spanned the sky, flinging great arcs of shimmering light clear to the western horizon. Then their nature utterly changed, and, like a gossamer veil or curtain, they gently rippled and undulated across their entire range. We must have watched an hour or more before they began to dim, whereat we knew our weariness, and once again bid all good night. And soon, as I blow my candle out, I know sweet sleep will discover me, and I welcome him. Monday, September 19th, 1831. We hear that Aunt Lucy's marriage date, delayed because of Cassie's death, is now again put forward. Teacher Holt has accepted a position, I should think he would, our father approves, at the Boys' Academy down to Exeter. Aunt Lucy and he are in haste to remove, that they may establish themselves before the autumn term. 'Tis Aunt Lucy's wish to be married here, where joy and love and sorrow have come, each of them in turn. The Shipmans have consented, though we are opposed at first. Tuesday, September 20th, 1831. Mamam disciplined Mattie today. Mattie having protested a favor that Mamam had asked. It was Mamam's contention that you must learn to like the doing of that which we like you to do. Glad submission of the will, she explained, is the obedience that proves control. I do not mean you merely to comply. Reflect, accept, obey. How I used to struggle with Mattie, and on this account, discipline of will, not relinquishment, is the lesson's desired end. How hard this is for each to learn, and how necessary. Tomorrow Sophie will leave for Lowell. Mamam has said we may walk to the bridge, there to observe her departure, and to wish her good speed.